Welcome to Crate Diggin with Virgil Boggs. I'm your host, Virgil Boggs, and just want to say good Sunday morning to you. We're going to do this podcast, just kind of go through some vinyl records that I've got in my collection, and then hopefully break them down weekly. So I just wanted to, go through kind of what I've collected over, since June of 2018 and just kind of let y'all know what I have and what I'm interested in and genres and some movie collections and some for the wife and the daughter and hopefully just expand my journey into vinyl. I kind of grew up listening to Elvis on vinyl as a baby and kind of got into DJing as I got into my teenage years and always wanted just to hold a record, wanted to spin it. I was really in, wanted to scratch and got into more of the digital DJing and eventually just as I got older started just, finding a love for really holding that vinyl record. And as I grew up on CDs, specifically in my teenage years, it was a lot of, physical holding that record and knowing where I was at that moment in time and just going back and just thinking, this song was specific to this moment or this album was very important and a milestone in my life. And with vinyl, obviously you get to hold it, you get to feel it, you get the artwork, you get to do, you interact with it more than you would a digital download or a stream, on Spotify or Pandora or Apple Music. For me, it's about holding it and knowing where I was at that specific time in life. And, I think back on music in my life and how specifically hip hop has been predominant in everything that I can remember from the time I was 5 years old to hearing my first rap record that I could think of as Informer by Snow, and how as a 6 year old I was able to start rapping that record and just kind of growing up listening to Tupac, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, a lot of the West Coast hip hop and just how that had an impact on me. And then finally in my, teenage years when I'm about 15 years old and I hear the record Deliverance by Bubba Sparks and just thinking where he was, who he was, where he came from, being a white guy from the South. And, I had grown up previously, a few years before on Eminem, but I couldn't relate to Eminem. I really wasn't an angry child. I didn't really have, a big story like that. But to hear Bubba Sparks' Deliverance, it was just a great record at that time. And, got into Nappy Roots and a lot of the Southern hip-hop tracks. I grew up on a lot of Texas tracks, a lot of the Chopped and Screwed. I appreciate Slim Thug, Paul Wall, Lil Flip. Obviously Lil Flip has been like my favorite artist growing up, and Bubba Sparks obviously has been very influential in my life the last few years. Bubba and I met in Springfield, Missouri at one of his shows, and we got to go back in VIP and hang out with him and Strizzo and just had a great time. And then when our son Drexel passed away, Bubba shared our story on his social media on Facebook and then linking back up in Tulsa, Oklahoma and just chilling out for a while, talking about Yellow Wolves, American, Struggle Jennings, Scram, just, that being influential in my life, meeting these people, but going back to that record Deliverance where I was and watching the movie Without a Paddle, like hearing that record and hearing a few others off that album. But music always comes back full circle for me, so I'm getting into this vinyl game, this vinyl collecting, whatever you want to call it. and I think it's just great to just spin that record and to listen to the pops and all the sounds you hear from it, and just holding it and looking at the artwork. So I want to kind of get into what I have as a collector, and it's not a lot in my crate. Like I said, I got my record player for my birthday this year from my parents, and now I'm starting to collect these records. So just kind of want to go into what I have. So yeah, we're gonna dig right into it. So yeah, the first vinyl that I'm gonna go through, and none of these are in particular order of when I purchased them, but they are in my crate in this order. So right now I'm gonna pick out one. It's the Fleetwood Mac Rumors record that came out, and we picked this up at Cracker Barrel back in September when my parents came up to see our daughter Aniston, and I love this record. I think it's a great record. My favorite track on this album is Dreams. I'm a big fan of just Fleetwood Mac, but specifically Stevie Nicks. I've got her greatest hits album CD. I just love the relaxed feel of Fleetwood Mac, and just kind of chilling out, listening and relaxing to this record. But Dreams is my favorite. It's got Gold Dust Woman, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way. That's another great record. The Chain, Songbird, You Make Loving Fun, I Don't Want to Know, Oh Daddy, Secondhand News, Never Going Back Again. Again, this record's kind of like, you Instagram pictures of vinyl, and you always find this one, and it's just a timeless hit. Yeah, Fleetwood Mac Rumors, check it out. It's the artwork is very minimalistic. Okay, the next one I got is the Smokey and the Bandit. Music from the original motion picture Smokey and the Bandit. I picked this one up at Cracker Barrel about a month ago, I guess. I was rolling through Cracker Barrel in Alma, Arkansas on the way home from Little Rock, and I had seen this several months ago and had to get it. This features a lot of Jerry Reed records. My favorite two are Westbound and Down and Eastbound and Down, of course. It's from the movie, so you get a lot of movie clips, and it's got some very nice artwork to it. It's got the dog on there, and the cop car and the semi, and it's a good record to listen to if you're just hanging out. I like it. The next one I got is the Elvis Christmas Baby record that my mom and I picked up at Christmas at Cracker Barrel as a little bit for Christmas, I guess, this year, but I picked it up. It's got two sides of Santa Claus is Back in Town, Blue Christmas. Side B's got Merry Christmas Baby, O Little Town of Bethlehem. This is a very, I don't know, this record is good for listening at Christmas time and kind of going through that. It's not something I probably play all the time, but it was great this Christmas, and just where we're at in life. And so yeah, Elvis, Christmas Baby, and Cracker Barrel was actually playing that night we were there. Another record I got, I picked up in Little Rock at an old record store. They had a lot of CDs and a few records and a lot of CDs. I picked up Big Boy, the Purple Ribbon All Stars with Bubba Sparks, Killer Mike. A lot of Dungeon Family on there. But I picked up this Rick James Cold Blooded. Man, this thing is old. It's in pretty poor condition. Yeah, it's not in good condition at all. In fact, you hear a lot of the pops and the clicks and It's nothing about it is in good condition, but I like this record. It's Rick James. So I picked it up for like $3 at that. I don't even remember the name of that record store, but it's in Little Rock, Arkansas. So uh, I just thought it was cool. And then my wife picked up this Nutcracker, which is in essentially poor condition as well. There was a lot of dust on these records that day, and we paid $3-4 per vinyl. I haven't even listened to the Nutcracker one yet. I assume it's in the same kind of condition, but we'll listen to it one day. The next one, which is probably one of my favorites that I listen to a lot. It's the REO Speedwagon Riding the Storm Out. I paid $4 for it at it's in where did I get? I got this one in Rogers, Arkansas. At man, what's I can't even remember the name right now. They got games and they've got a little bit of everything there. CDs. Let's see. Yeah, I can't even remember the name. I'll have to Google it. But Riding the Storm Out's my favorite record on here. They've got Whiskey Night, Old Woman, Ride My Fortune, Moving, Start a New Life, Without Expression. But I got these at Vintage Stock. That's the name I was trying to think of. The next one is The Wizard of Oz. This record, it's so beautiful to look at. It is the Ruby Red. It's the 75th anniversary Wizard of Oz collection, and it's the original motion picture soundtrack. It's beautiful to look at. I like to listen to it. It's one that we picked up at Cracker Barrel again. And I kind of got this from my daughter, Aniston, who Aniston is 4 months old. She spent a lot of time in the hospital. She has been to Arkansas Children's, and now she is at Lucille Packard Stanford University Children's Hospital in Palo Alto, California. And she has a very complex heart condition and is waiting surgery. So we only got to keep her home for a month, and I wanted to pick out a couple records for her, and this is one of them. This, if you know The Wizard of Oz, then you know this record, and it's amazing. I'm a 31-year-old man, but I love this record. I love looking at it. I love watching it spin. It's fantastic. It's got a great cover art. It's, got the green, and it's got the pictures of the characters. You got Tin Man Scarecrow. Man, you've got... it's just... I don't know. This is just a great record. We'll kind of dig into this one later. It's got, I don't know. It's got 16 tracks on side A and 10 on side B. But you could pick that one up at Cracker Barrel. Again, the original motion picture Wizard of Oz. The next one, I specifically picked this up for Aniston, and it's the Lion King original motion picture soundtrack. It's got the colored print vinyl. The quality on these that are printed this way isn't the greatest. It's not the loudest, but they look beautiful. And I loved playing this record for her when we brought her home, and I would put her to sleep with this. Can You Feel the Love Tonight is one that we always listen to. But I'm trying to raise Aniston on music, and The Lion King, this is my favorite record to play for her. We picked it up at Cracker Barrel. Original songs, music by Elton John, lyrics by Tim Rice, score composed by Hans Zimmer. But man, it's got Circle of Life, Hakuna Matata, I Just Can't Wait to Be King. If you know that movie, that's another one. You're going to know those songs. So getting to hold that record and getting to spin it, and for me, it's a personal record because it's for my daughter. And yeah, so when she comes home, we're going to play it like crazy. Okay, the next few are Bubba Sparks. Again, if you know me, you know Bubba K, you know Timbaland, you know the story. New South, I-4-9, salute. Bubba Sparks, Deliverance, my favorite record ever. I would say it's my favorite record of all time, flat out. Deliverance, produced by Timbaland from the new album Deliverance. This is a single, and a lot of these are all singles, but it's got the radio edit, the LP version, the instrumental, and the acapella, and they're both the same side. But my favorite of all time, Bubba Sparks, Deliverance. Check it out if you don't know it. Listen to it. It's on the movie Without a Paddle. Heard it when I was 15. Again, favorite record of all time. The next one is the Bubba Sparks. It's got Jimmy Mathis and They Love It featuring Bun B. You know, Bun B, UGK. You know, rest in peace to Pip C, Chad Butler. But yeah, Bubba Sparks. It's got Jimmy Mathis on side A. It's got the clean, the dirty, the instrumental, the acapella. And then They Love It featuring Bun B on side B. Same thing. Produced by Oop Camp and Rico Wade. And if you don't know Rico Wade, Organized Noise, Dungeon Family, check them out. They've got a Netflix documentary, but a lot of the records you heard, probably, you know, in the 90s, was produced by Organized Noise. And yeah, the Dungeon Family, there's a lot of history, hip-hop history in the Dungeon Family. Organized Noise, Bubba Sparks, Outkast, Goody Mob. Man, there's just a ton of history in that, so check that out. The next one I got is the Ugly single from Bubba Sparks, produced by Timbaland's Beat Club, off his debut album Dark Days, Bright Nights. Man, it's a great record. I heard it on the radio the other day. Kiss NWA 105.3 was playing it on last Sunday. It's got a little bit of Missy Elliott in there, and how Timbaland produced both tracks, and kind of goes back, and they've got a video, you know, in the pig pen, and Bubba kind of introducing who he is as this white Southern rapper, and oh man, it's a timeless classic. Check it out. The next one would be George Thorogood and the Destroyers, and it's one I picked up at vintage stock as well for, you know, maybe $10. I don't remember. My favorite, and I think everyone will know, Bad to the Bone. You know, we all know that record. Yeah, it's on side 2, number 3, Bad to the Bone. It's got Nighttime, I Drink Alone, 1 bourbon, 1 scotch, 1 beer, Feeling a Rock. And this is kind of a record, you know, that I heard as a kid, and I think everyone would know Bad to the Bone. But yeah, it was, you know, yeah, I picked it up for about $12. This next one I picked up for $10. Well, no, $5. And I've never even seen this, never even heard of it, but it is Crazy Bone, Hard Time Hustlin' single. Man, if you know Crazy Bone, if you know Bone Thugs and Harmony, I grew up on BT&H. Man, I had never even heard of that record, but I enjoy it. It's just a single. It's got a few edits on there, but Crazy Bone, you know, I love the fast chopper style of Bone Thugs, and you know, they're a classic hip hop group that I grew up on, still listen to today. You will still catch me listen to, you know, the Crossroads and Paper. But yeah, you know, Crazy Bone, it's just his. And if you'll remember Crazy Bone with Chameleon Air, Riding Dirty, that's a very popular record. But yeah, it's just one I picked up. I happened to see it, and I was like, oh, a hip-hop record. Yeah, so Crazy Bone, Hard Time Hustling. This next one is one I picked up at vintage stock for my wife, $8. It's it says music inspired by Star Wars and other galactic sounds. I don't know. I don't know. It's got Imperial Attack, Princess Leia's theme, other galactic funk. I don't know. It's just kind of if you're into Star Wars and that kind of theme, it's kind of a cool record. I don't listen to it a lot, but I picked it up for. The next one is my first one that I bought with my Christmas or birthday money. It's the best of Jimi Hendrix. It's the Hendrix Experience. It's got Purple Haze, Fire, Foxy Lady, Voodoo Child, Star Spangled Banner, Angel, Freedom. This is a very nicely packaged vinyl. It's heavy. It's got nice artwork. It's classic Hendrix. I really don't have to talk him up. I think you guys know enough about music history and who Jimi Hendrix was and the kind of music he put out. And so I've got it on cassette as well, but this vinyl, man, it's a great vinyl to listen to, and I love spinning it and cranking it up, and the whole Voodoo Child, like Hollywood Hulk Hogan, NWO. If you grew up on wrestling, I think you will appreciate it. And the last one I've got is Daft Punk, and this is, which one is this? It just says Daft Punk. I can't even remember. It's the black. It's got One More Time, Voyager, Too Long, Face to Face, Night Vision, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, Digital Love. It's the Discovery. There we go. Daft Punk Discovery. It's a very sweet artwork. Black with their classic logo. I think it's cool. I think it's a great sound if you're into that sound. I grew up, listening to Around the World. That was one of my favorite songs of that style. So anyway, that's kind of what I've got, and we can break them down later, but I just thought I would introduce what's in my collection. And fortunately for me, there's a lot of places to buy vinyl where I live in Northwest Arkansas. So we've got several places that you could go, and you don't have to spend a lot of money, or you could spend $20-$30 for vinyl. And a lot of people are going to be like, I'm not spending that kind of money. But for me, it's, if I can pick up a record, for $5-$10, I most definitely will. And I don't know, just holding records, I don't know, it's great to me. What I'm using to hold them is just a wooden crate I picked up at Walmart. I think it was $10, but I've kind of branded it with our little address stamp, and I keep some CDs in there and DVDs, and I've got one more. It's a 45. It's the Fat Domino. It's got Blueberry Hill and Honey Chili, and man, I was so happy to pick this up on eBay. I love Fats Domino. I put it on to spin, and unfortunately, I guess it spins too fast and my belt comes off every time. So I don't even spin it, but it's in my collection, and it's just Blueberry Hill, Fats Domino. My grandpa loved it. My mom loved that record. It's just one of my favorites. So that's what I've got in this wooden crate that I picked up at Walmart. But I hope to pick up more records. I hope to go into more of what I've got and kind of go through, hopefully often, and actually spin these records and listen to them over the podcast. But today I just kind of wanted to introduce, just kind of digging through the crates, pulling out vinyl and talking about it. And hopefully y'all can let me know what kind of vinyl you have, what you're into, what genres. I hope to pick up some old country. I like outlaw country. I like Waylon Jennings. I met Waylon's grandson Struggle in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like Waylon, Willie, and the boys. So yeah, hopefully pick up some older country, some '90s country that I kind of grew up on, and some more rock and roll, some more hip hop. But yeah, so I just want to say salute. Thanks for tuning in with me, and hopefully we'll dig into some more crates and see what we got. So let me know what y'all got, and again, appreciate you. It's your host Virgil Boggs. I'm out.